Yeah, but see, that third down play when we get to up short is 30-12. That was the 2-minute warning. Bottom of an extra timeout, which is what it's designed to do. You just don't want to be the one that had it. No.
I got to take a deep breath first. Man, I am so proud of this football team. Hats off to Cincinnati. They're a really good football team. We felt that all week long and talked about it. We thought it was going to be a 4-quarter game. But, man, I'm so proud of this team. We early in the game, we lost Chapman Lewis. He tweaked his hamstring, and we felt like we couldn't get him back. And then Jordan Sanford comes out and messes up his hand, so he's got to go in. And at halftime, so Plunk comes out and finishes the half. So we go through 3 free safeties. Come out the second half, we got Jordan Plunk back. Plunk comes out, mess up his shoulder. I feel like he's going to be okay, but got his shoulder pretty good. So Jordan had to go back out there, and man, he almost came up with a big interception, but it just kept going back and forth. And then on offense, man, can't say enough. We shuffled the line. I think as this line goes with those 5 and really kind of 6 with Ty Buchanan, we're going to keep getting better. Taj Brooks was Taj Brooks. It's something that we're all accustomed to seeing. The last 2 years, he goes for 172, and man, was really special tonight. And I thought Barron stepped up and made some big throws, and we had some guys that made some big catches. It was great to see Josh Kelly get going, because I felt like in the first at least first quarter, first couple of possessions for us, they were really trying to take him away, and he found ways to make plays. Dre McCray came up big tonight. Had 5 catches. Coy, came up big tonight, had 2 touchdowns. So, man, it was just all around a really good game, and it's all around a Big 12 game. That's what it's going to be. It seems like every single week, and man, it's good to be 2-0 in the Big 12, be 4-1, and we'll enjoy this one, and then we'll just get ready for a heck of a game against Arizona in Arizona. With that, questions.
Coach, as you mentioned, a lot of guys went down on defense, but Ben Roberts really stepped up, had a big game. I think he had 12 tackles, a forced fumble, the quarterback pressure on that pick six. What did you think about his performance?
Man, we're at that position is deep. Coach Bookbinder does a really good job, but Ben, again, he's one of those guys that every single week, comes up big. That was the pressure on the pick six was huge. The cause fumble and us recovering was huge, and he's such a good football player. He's got such a high football IQ. You could put him in a lot of spots, and he's going to succeed and be a really, really good football player for us.
Coach, on that final possession for them, you're able to take advantage of, I'd say, a mistake from their coaching staff. You slow sub when they sub. I think it took off another 13 seconds, probably took away a play. That bit you in 22 against Oklahoma State, I remember. I guess what was the thought process trying to just take off those seconds, take advantage when you could?
Yeah, that's one thing. I mean, we there was one drive we oversubbed, but that's one thing that we practice a lot, and it's coming from the box as soon as they start seeing somebody come off. And, in those situations, man, 1 second to, ever how many seconds it was is so critical, and we were able to get a guy. The great thing, too, with us to be able to do that is you got to be deep enough in the defensive line to do it. We've got 6 guys that we feel like can play. I think 5 of them played tonight. And so it's really not like you're not in a panic that you're putting somebody in there that's not going to, be able to make a play. I thought that was really big. I thought the defense, too, right there at the end, that we felt like their kick line was right at the 35. We got them, they got to the 32. So it was definitely a little bit ahead of their kick line. But I thought that was big to make them kick as long a field goal as they could to try to tie it up.
Coach, of course, in that first half and throughout the game, your defense gave up a lot of yardage and big plays and whatnot. But what was the message to them to keep them in the game to the point in the second half where they got those 2 takeaways that pretty much turned the game completely in our favor? Yeah,
that's a really good question from the standpoint of it seemed like all their scores tonight were big plays. They stopped us on 4th down, and the very next play they score, we don't wall number 2. We don't walk out on number 2. They motioned over. They were 3-by-1. They motioned over 2-by-2, and our outside linebacker, didn't adjust. So we got a free run. There's a touchdown. They go with a screen pass for a 71-yard touchdown, and we take the easy ways, going underneath blocks instead of over the top, and it just goes back those big plays. Anytime you have big plays in games like that, the first thing is like, hey, blown coverages. It wasn't that. It just always goes back to fundamental football of setting edges. We hit the quarterback, but we're not sacking the quarterback, and so now we're hanging our secondary out to dry because they're having to cover longer than what they should have to cover. Part of that is we're not containing the quarterback, and we've got to. We definitely, whenever a week from now, I've got to do a good job because Arizona's quarterback can really move in the pocket. And so many of those big plays where it just goes back to just fundamental of not setting edges, not containing the football, letting the coverage, they have to cover longer than what they should have, and that quarterback did a really good job tonight. He's a good football player. I will say this, going back to that though, he hadn't turned the ball over at all. We're able to get a pick 6. We probably, what's crazy is Jordan probably intercepts the ball too if he doesn't hurt his hand, and we have to. He kind of had a half cast on it, and he probably catches that clean. So even though we didn't sack him, we did cause some mistakes that helped us win the game.
Coach, it just seemed like a lot was clicking for Barron tonight. I think the throw that really stood out to me was the 30-yarder to Kelly at the beginning of the 4th quarter. Just processing and placement was just all of it was clicking tonight. I guess, do you feel like this was his most complete game of the season so far?
He just keeps getting better. He's making some really good decisions. We had some checks tonight that were really big. I think he's getting, really had a couple big runs too. that he feels really comfortable. I think he feels really good. And so he's doing some things, and I think he'll just continue to do that, the better. But I do think the one thing right now, he's operating in a really high level as far as seeing the field, seeing what we want him to do with the ball. I mean, if you go back, there's one drive that we have to kick the field goal. We dropped 3 balls. One of them was a touchdown, and you catch, any of those balls, we probably score, but you don't drop the one, going in. I mean, that's a touchdown, and all 3 balls were catchable balls. He put it on them, and, it happens. That's football. You're going to drop balls. You're going to, we got to go to what's next. But he was really throwing the ball well tonight, because I think he was so he was 19 to 29. So you take those 3 right there, and he's even in a better position.
Coach, talk about Zach Kitley and his balanced play calling. 251 yards in passing, 231 yards in rushing, and being able to score on 7 of 9 drives.
Yeah, I think the one thing, Kit is doing a really good job of understanding what the game. That's a big thing. We have a staff meeting before we have our final walkthrough, and we go through things, and I ask the coaches, like, let's figure out what kind of game it is, and let's adapt, and let's attack it that way. I think he is doing a phenomenal job of seeing what they're giving us, calling plays into it. And then, guys, I've said it, since spring football, our skill is totally different than what it was the first 2 years as far as making ability. And then you have Taj Brooks, he's the best running back in college football. Without a doubt. I mean, he is the best total back in college football. The way he rushes the football, the way he catches the ball out of the backfield, I think he's the most physical, picking up any kind of blitz, helping chip in on pass blocking. He's the best in college football, and he's on our team. And so whenever you have that combination, it's tough on defensive coordinators to decide what you're going to try to take away. And Zach's taking advantage of it.
So, Coach, throughout the homestand, the red zone defense was arguably better than throughout the drive, right? What kind of concept or idea changed from DeRuyter and you when you get to the red zone? Because today we saw that Cincinnati was able to get to the red zone, but then you limit them to 3 instead of 6. What can you take away from this?
Yeah, and that was a big trying to really get a lot better in the red zone from game 1 and 2 to where we are now. I think our guys understand that there's a sense of urgency wherever you're at on the field, but there's a bigger sense of urgency. I think that we're condensing the field. That red zone really condenses the field, so our guys are playing into that. I do think, even though there were times we didn't set edges and we let the quarterback get out, I think we're tackling well. Besides that long 71-yard run, we didn't tackle anybody. But I think we're tackling a lot better, and they're really tackling well in the red zone. So we're making guys take snaps, and that's the biggest thing, man. We talk about it all the time. We're constantly talking about it throughout the game of, like, what kind of game it is. We're scoring right now. Make them drive the football. I think we kicked the field goal, and we got the ball with 7:50. They got the ball with 7:50 left in the fourth quarter. We got the ball back with 3:24. So at least whenever they did score, it wasn't like a big play. They had to take seconds off the clock, and a lot of that is being better in the red zone.
Hi, Coach.
Hey.
There is still one game going on right now, but there's only 3 2-0 teams in the Big 12, yourself, your buddy Dion, and BYU. How valuable was it to get off to this 2-0 start tonight?
Yeah, it's huge, and we talked about it. There's an opportunity out there, and we, you're coming in and you had 2 1-0 teams, and somebody was going to leave here being 1-1, and somebody's going to be 2-0, and really have a leg up in the Big 12. And I got to see the score with Dion. Man, they must have played really, really well. I got to see a lot of the BYU game, and they're playing at a really high level right now. And so it's one of those deals of you got to take advantage of it, because the Big 12 is going to be like this. I heard Kenny Dillingham, Arizona State coach, talk about it last week, and it's almost like every time you look up, you're like, man, look at that score. Wow, I didn't think that was going to happen. It's like that throughout the conference, and whether it's 44-41 or if it's we win by 21 points. I don't care. I just want to win, and that's what that locker room is just find a way to win games, and we're finding ways to win games right now.
Coach, speaking with Colby Aiken at the beginning of the season, he said that he and Barron have really gotten closer over the offseason, and obviously that's on full display, especially here tonight. 2 touchdown two touchdown receptions. Should have had 3.
Yeah.
What have you seen from that just development of Coy over these 3 years, coming back from some injuries as well, and really shining?
Man, Coy's like I don't know if he ever needs a break, and he never goes. It's not a deal that he ever is not going full speed. They have a new stat on PFF to where you can see. Now we track it with our guys, with our GPS and everything, but they've started tracking it of how many times it's 15 miles an hour, and then how many times guys go over 20 miles per hour. But the 15 mile per hour mark is like how hard these guys are playing throughout the game, and Coy has the most 15 mile per hour plays on our football team. He's probably got as high as anybody in the country. The guy just plays so hard, and is physical and breaks tackles. And again, those two have a good relationship, and they've got some good chemistry. But it's fun to watch because Dre McCray has got good chemistry with and had a good night tonight, and then you can see Josh Kelly every single week's got good chemistry with him, and so it just says a lot about all those guys. And they're, I'm telling you, man, you come over to the sideline, they're locked in. It is really right now a team playing off of each other. Whether it's we give up a score, it's kind of one of those deals tonight. If they scored, we at least got a field goal out of our next possession, it seemed like, besides the last one. And that kept, at least us to where it was harder and harder to get to where they couldn't get the lead.
Finish with Don in the middle.
Joey, regarding Coy, that 40-yard touchdown pass, kind of had those 2 guys crossing, meshing in the middle. Caleb Douglas, we talked about, has had some good big plays on shallow cross. Have y'all kind of discovered, is that becoming a pretty big play element of your offense?
Yeah, that's one of Mike Leach's old staples. Anytime you got mesh and some of the stuff like that, they have such a good feel for those plays, and especially with Caleb and Coy, because they are big targets, so they're easy to see. And Coy, I think all these guys, but like the one thing, the yards after catch, like Coy had 52 yards after catch. Josh Kelly had 43 yards after catch. Dre McCray had 14 yards after catch. So they're also, they're physical and trying to bring them down.
Throw to Coy, fourth quarter, down there near the end zone, got hit high. Did you or any of your staff people have a good look at that? Did you thought it should have been reviewed?
No, the one thing is every play like that's being reviewed. So sometimes it's being reviewed, or a lot of times it's being reviewed at the Rock, and they don't feel like, hey, it's a clean play, so they don't have to go to review with the officials and talk it through it. Until I see it, but it's a lot of times they don't miss to where they're going to call targeting, so it must have been a clean play, and. Guy, it was a bang play. The guy came over. It was a very physical play, and that's what this game's all about. And I'm glad Coy's okay.
And looking ahead to Arizona next week, obviously McMillan being one of the top receivers in the country, with the challenges that y'all have had getting to the quarterback, and with your secondary being banged up tonight, what is the challenge to get ready to play those guys?
There's been some. I'm really anxious to watch film. I'm anxious to see how Utah plays them tonight. Utah's really, really good in the secondary, so I'm kind of anxious to see their scheme. I know early in the season, he's going to catch the ball. I think he'll. If he's not the first receiver drafted, I don't know who it is. I mean, he's a number 1 draft pick. You've got to understand that he's going to catch the ball, take everybody else away. But there's some guys out there that have doubled him at certain times. We just got to, see some of what they're doing schematically, and we do feel like that there's a chance for us to get healthier. Lux is trending in a really good direction. We didn't feel like we could play him tonight, but we're hoping we get him back, and that always helps. And I think Macho's done some really good things. I think, Mo Horn's playing really well. But we're going to have to sit down and see, like, when can we double him? We got possibly, try to get physical with him at the line of scrimmage, maybe with an outside linebacker, wherever they put him. But they're a really good football team, and that quarterback does a really good job.
All right, thanks, Coach.
I got one more right back here. It's all right, brother.
How are you?
Good, man.
You kind of touched on it a little bit. Just talk about the adversity you guys faced, obviously going down 14-3 kind of early on. You guys never backed down. You guys kept up that mentality of, hey, we're still in this. Just talk about the mental toughness and the adversity of this team, especially on a night like tonight where you learn a lot about your ball club going forward.
Yeah, one of the biggest things right now that we've kind of shifted into over the last 3 weeks is, just one thing I tell them coming out of the locker room is just focus on the first quarter. Be in this moment, and we'll figure out what the second quarter looks like when we get there. But we've been talking more about rounds than quarters, and coming out, and they've done a really good job. They have scored 52 points coming into this game, 52 points, only allowing 6 in the first quarter. They've been really good coming out of half, and so we were aware of that. We knew that it was going to be a kind of a back and forth game because they're really talented, and they're good in their offensive line. They've got a really good offensive line. They're an old group. I think they returned to 5 guys, that started for them last year, and the quarterback can really throw the ball. But it's one of those deals like it is, man. It's just like, just keep punching, just keep throwing body blows and stay in the fight, and good things are going to happen. All right.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank y'all.
All right, go ahead, Sean.
Ben, you were all over the place. 12 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, quarterback hurry, forced fumble. What were you seeing today that you saw from film that were able to make you so effective?
I think it just comes down to watching a lot of it. It's not that I'm seeing certain things going, I know the play's going here. In some cases, yes, but a lot of it's just instinct at that point. After you watch a certain amount of film, you just kind of react.
AJ, what were you thinking? What's going through your mind as the ball gets to you and you're heading to the end zone?
I'm thinking straight crib. Whole time is in my head. I see the ball. First thing I'm thinking, I'm finna take you to the house.
So your first pick as a Red Raider under the atmosphere. What does it mean to your defense for a big play like that to help out your offense, especially when they were playing great today?
Yeah, I think it just it turned the game around, and then it makes people. I mean, it made our team want to finish the game strong. Gave us a little cushion. It's just a great feeling, man.
AJ, I'm curious about after the pick six, if anybody mentioned anything to you about the last time you had a pick six here.
Yeah, no, the whole sideline. They brought it back up to my attention, talking about the blackouts, night games. It's just, I guess it's something that just comes to me, I guess.
And I just remember going back to spring. I mean, a lot of the talk was about just that kind of ongoing competition with you and BJ at Star. But I mean, it seems like both of you have been pretty consistent in that role. Just what has that been like for you? Just knowing that y'all are able to kind of bounce off of each other and just really keep it going. You know, no matter which one of y'all's on the field.
Yeah, no, it's amazing to have somebody else come in, and there ain't gonna be no drop off. Because BJ, he's a great player. And so, like, being able to rotate how we do, it keeps both of us fresh, both of us being able to play fast. So, yeah.
Ben, on that call on the pick six, you're right in the quarterback's face. I know it seemed like it was a pretty good call from the coordinator. You get a free lane off their pass protection scheme, and I guess what was your thought process trying to get to the quarterback to end up setting up AJ?
I was a little late on that blitz, actually, so it kind of worked out. If I was a little earlier, I might have had a sack, which would have been nice. But being a little late helped him out, and 6 points better than a sack.
I guess it's a question for both of you. You guys were down 11 very early in the game in that first quarter. What was the defensive focus or like change you guys worked on to eventually slow down the Cincinnati attack?
Yeah, no, I think that we came out a little slow, but we realized quick that we got to pick it up and we got to continue to fight, or it was going to be a long game for us. The mindset is around the whole defense. You could see like we didn't want that to happen, so we picked it up. We started playing, flying around, and playing some good D.
And then one more. You held Cincinnati to 129 yards rushing. It's been getting better every week in terms of stopping the run, and that's probably the biggest thing is to limit the time of possession. What has improved from y'all, at least from this 3-game homestand, so starting at UNT all the way through, for this rushing attack on the defense?
It's been a big focus for us recently, especially with QB runs and things of that nature. But just swarming, getting people to the ball, not just making it a solo tackle. If everybody runs to the ball, we're going to be able to stop the run no matter what happens.
Go ahead, Zach.
For either of you guys, I know Take 3 University forcing some turnovers tonight. As far as the interception, that was the first turnover forced by that quarterback on this year. For a team who does not turn the ball over very often, what was I guess the drills like? I guess this week, knowing that hey, if we get a turnover or two, things could go really well for us.
Yeah, I think I don't know.
It was really just communication. It's always a big focus for us each week to communicate, and it's always a focus to take the ball away. So we're always trying to dial that in, no matter who we're playing. And he's good with the ball; he protects it. So getting a rush there, getting him to make a bad decision really helped us.
And we'll finish over with Don.
Considering you two guys played a lot of snaps, so what was the emotion when Cincinnati's lining up for the field goal to tie it, and then the emotion when you don't have to play overtime?
Yeah, I mean, I was happy that they missed it. I was happy that we forced them to kick the field goal, and then watching them miss it, it's just a whole feeling just came through my body. Like, it was a great game. We fought hard for this win. And I could feel like I could say the same for everybody else on the team. Like, it's just a happy feeling, that we accomplished what we came here to do.
Anything else for these two? All right, thank you guys.
Thank you. Thank y'all.